Definitely. I think the Jewish Museum did a really good job in disability access. For example, there's a large elevator which is easily to find and also easily to use. Besides, there are a lot of ramps inside the museum that can help the disability people to go through more convenient. What's more, I also find like they offer brailles in not only the museum but also in the cafe just beside the museum, and some large hard copy screens for like have people who have eyes problem to read more easily. Yeah.
After I visit a museum of Auckland, I found the wheelchair is in front of the door. A lot of exhibit has been set very low. It's very easy for disabled people to use that.
I think the Jewish Museum has considered a various disability people. Like it's not only for people who are not convenient to walk by themselves, but also like blind people or people who has listening problem. Yeah, they consider all
The wheelchair is not only for disabled people. It also can for old people to use that. They can go around and help them visit a museum and more convenient. And another one is telephone. The telephone sets very low. They can touch that and have more interaction with the show.
I also find that like there's no electronic button on the door which can let the disability people to press and they can go through the door by themselves. They need to ask people who work in the museum to help them to go into the museum, and also the way that disability people to go to the cafe, I think is too small. Like it's hard for them to order things.
In the museum, the screen is too high for disabled people. The side of the wall also too small for them. For example, when I was in the museum, when I watched the screen, it's very hard for me to see that. Screen should be set to lower, and the side of the wall should be more large. And another one is they should offer the hard copy of the words with a large size.
For the ramps, you can find it everywhere in your life, like when you go to the Wendy's or Safeway or just some parking areas, you can find it everywhere.
While I was in downtown San Francisco, I found a strange restaurant. It has an electric button. When I touch that, the door will open. The disabled people can go through.
Actually, there's one thing I remember that is when I go to the Westview San Francisco shopping center, I find that once I go to there, there's a disability people who on the wheelchair asked me to hold the door for her. That is because there's no electronic button on the door, so it's hard for the door is very heavy, so it's hard for her to open it and go through it. And I was quite shocked that like Westview is such big shopping mall, and it has very good restroom for for the disabled people to use, but for the entrance there's nothing for them to use. That was like quite shocked that why it didn't consider about this question. Yeah.
Okay. In Safeway, the store is too high for disabled people. They cannot get something what they want. They need another's help.
Disability access is just around our lives. You can see it everywhere. and sometimes it's not that invisible, but you still need to like pay attention to it. And I think what I would do is pay attention to it, like when I'm doing something, I would just consider, is it this convenient for disability people to use or not? Like if I find something like great design that a great disability assets that I never considered before, I may just learn about it, like how it works, how it can improve or help the disability people. Yeah.
In terms of in Starbucks, people with disabilities, for example, we do get a handful of them, and we do our utmost ability to help them through their day-to-day basis. For example, I have a usual customer who she seems paralyzed from the bottom waist down, and so I would always hand her copy closer her up to her body area so that she can move much quicker in her own pace. So it's a little bit more comfortable for her, because even though her bottom waist is paralyzed, her upper part is having struggles as well. That's why we try to help them out. In terms of Safeway, however, I am not aware of how they operate, but my courtesy clerks are actually very trained about these things, and so that they will help anybody out in terms of. That's why we also have these very accessible automatic chairs that they can rent out, so that whenever somebody is, let's say, sprained ankle or having some sort of leg injury, they can use that as feel free to use. I mean, aside from just offering them tables, I believe we can, because if it's not limited to just the store, but I feel like we can hire maybe another staff member that would openly see our customers and bring them their beverages and snacks as well, because over here it's sort of self-serve, but I try to deliver it to them as much as possible. It doesn't limit to just the people with disabled. I do it for most of they could do a lot better, in my honest opinion, because there's some people that really do take the time and day to really help people out with those who's really inhibited, so to speak, and there's some who just really don't care. And so I think that it can go both ways, but we are actually in a very critical point where there's laws being passed for people who's been disabled for certain things, and I feel like we should really have a more support for them, not just showing that, but actually acting that out, not just with words, but with the actual action, because we can have the blue markers over there for disabled people, but that's just pretty much it. What else are you gonna do for them? Are you actually gonna assist them, help them out the cart? And there's so much more things that people can do to help people out physically and by action. I like to drive by. Words are just words until action takes place. And we should have trained staff that handle specifically for that specific area. Train them into the care of these people, train them the necessary training for them to operate equipment to help these people. For example, learn their day-to-day basis. Actually, it's better that we actually hire nurses for these things. It's because they know more, like physical therapists, they know more about these. And so if they're getting more involved into these type of things, for example, I have a blind man who actually ordered by himself, and he said he couldn't get around unless with the help of his physical therapy. I feel like that can be shared to regular staff, because with that way you can expand more. Business will expand even more, as well as people would be offered jobs. I feel like it's going to be a win-win situation if people take the time to review the structure of how the care for disabilities are and how it is moving forward.
I think they could have more seats, because the lady I bring, I'm 83 and she's 93. And she has to go up each aisle and she has to hold on to the basket. And so I have to come over here and sit, because my hip is beginning to a little bit. And so if they had more seats, maybe toward the front door, because I can't see her, for the ailing people. So I have to get up ever so often and see where she is. So that would help if they had the seats a little closer to the front door.
They have disability parking, handicap parking.
Yeah.
They have all the wheelchair accessible ramps. The sidewalks are all wheelchair accessible. And most of the stores are handicap accessible. You know, so I think they did a great job in accommodating the handicap and disabled. Helping them get into a parking stall or being that extra eye for them when they move in their vehicle. You know, that's about the only thing I can think of. Yeah. One of the things, you know, I had the experience of dealing with a blind person where she, you know, a lot of the signals at the stoplights, it's not working. And I was never aware of that until one day I was at the red light and the blind lady, she just walked out into traffic, you know, because she didn't know, because she didn't hear a signal. And she brought it to my attention that a lot of times the signals are not working.
Yeah.
And so I noticed that I was walking down San Pablo one night, and I noticed that I think I walked from University all the way to Oakland, and I only found one signal to be working, and that was on the Dwight Way in San Pablo. Yeah. It can improve a whole lot. Yeah, there's a lot of areas that need to be improved, but I assess that's good. Yeah, because nothing beats beats the effort. I mean, you know, they put forth an effort, you know, so I have to say it's good, you know, because they put forth an effort. But it still needs to be more done. Yeah.